We are officially live. Hello again, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 all. Everyone checking us out here on 90s to Now. Thank you so much. It's been a minute. It's been a while. Um, we're back. Of course, I am Jerry Strauss. Thank you so much for trickling in. I'm going to let you know right off the bat. We have her up. Josie is on deck. She is here. We thought we'd have some scheduling issues, but she is here. So just want to let you guys know really, really quickly. Once again, we are back on track. And welcome to our first live episode in quite some time here on 90s to Now. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. Thank you for joining us on Facebook in our Facebook group. If you haven't done so, of course, join. It's free. It's 90s to Now /groups /90s to Now. Sorry, doing this all out of memory. And then, of course, over on YouTube, we are at youtube.com /@90s to Now. So please check us out both places. We've got exclusive content in both places, and we're putting everything together so that we can have a comprehensive experience, both live and on demand in both areas. Your support means a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for joining us. Lots of interest here. We've got a lot of questions coming in already for our guest. So let's bring her on. She is here and ready to go. You may remember her best from her longtime role, one of my favorites from back in the 90s, the early 80s, or the late 80s into the 90s, of course, Charles in Charge. But she's done so many other things that we are going to talk about. And she is back and better than ever. And she is here for the first time on 90s to Now. Let's get her on the screen so we can talk to her instead of about her. Josie, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Rushing today. I'm glad I made it. Thank you.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. We thought I was gonna have to do a little tap dance for a little while, but
I know. I just rushed in quickly and I tried setting this up and I don't even know how it looks with the lighting, with the desk lighting. And I'm using
no,
like some desk lighting thing in my iMac. So I think it looks fine.
you're a natural. I mean, and we know that those of us who follow you on social media, we know that you're a natural, but you're also an old pro at this. You always.
I'm not good at this part. And my cats, when you hear me scream, it's because they're playing right now and they need to stop. Okay, I've got one cat chasing another. What are you going to do?
I got to ask you right off the bat, because you need to understand the level of humor that goes on this show. How many times have people made reference to Josie and the Pussycats? Because this seems like.
I usually say that when I introduce myself to people, but people don't usually say it to me.
Okay, well,
it's a show I've never seen. I've heard about it, so I'm always like, Josie and the Pussycats, and everyone says, yeah, okay, but
it has nothing to do with this at all. It's just the obvious joke that only an idiot would actually say out loud. So just want to let you know that.
No, what do you mean? I just told you I say it. We're both idiots. That's what your point is. We're both idiots. Okay.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. Equal ground. Good place to start. Look, before we get into anything, I want to make mention for those who do follow you on social media, but also especially for those who don't. You are such a phenomenal personality, such an engaging personality on social media, and it's reflected. It's not only reflected in what you do, but also in the response to this, because so many people are truly passionate about following you and hearing from you. And so much of it is based not just on your career, but just life advice and everything that you talk about. And I just want to put it out there, as we talk about your career, highlights of your career, if you have any life advice for me or anybody else who's connecting with us, drop it in.
That is a compliment. Thank you. That you think my life is so great that I should be giving advice. No, I do think maybe you're referring to my YouTube channel I started many years ago for people that or kids, people who have been bullied, are being bullied. That was the whole intention behind doing it, starting it back so many years ago. And then I dropped off because I do that. I get like fixated on something and I get excited about something else. I had a podcast. I didn't really know how to do it. If I don't do it really well, I just am like, I need help. And then I go from one thing to another because I get very passionate and excited about so many things, but I'm one person. So how can you do it all?
Right.
So it's kind of, but I do want to go back to helping people and doing it on YouTube and maybe even reposting some of them, because they definitely fans would write me and say that it did help a lot. And all I do is I don't give advice. I share my experience, or any knowledge I have, and they can do whatever they want with it. But I don't actually tell people what to do, because how could I possibly do that?
Right. Well, that's the genius of those who are best at kind of leading people to where they know they should be going. And I mean, I've seen content of you talking about like dating advice, relationship advice, like, beauty advice, like cooking, like showing what you're doing in the kitchen. Like, you kind of don't limit yourself to one lane. It's just all aspects of your life that you put out there. It's
I
cool.
find myself saying I'm not perfect at anything. Everything I'm doing, I'm so not perfect. So it's all this stuff you're saying is probably more entertaining than anything. Like, I'm not a chef, but I'm like, this is a great dish. I've got to share this with someone. So it's more like that kind of thing. But I don't profess to be a therapist or a chef or a trainer or anything. But I love sharing, thinking maybe it'll help some
Mm.
people. And thank you for saying all that.
Oh, no problem. Now look, people are excited for that, but people are also excited because, and I'm sure you've heard this for years and years, people have been following your career and watching you do all these amazing things in movies and on TV for some of their entire lives.
And they don't know they're watching the same person. A lot of them say, like, they've been a fan not knowing it was the same person, which is hilarious.
So we've got people chiming in about all these different aspects of your career, and of course we want to interject our own questions as well. And
Yeah.
some and also this is kind of a lie detector test for the internet. So if there's anything here that we say that is absolutely untrue, like, you're here first,
Yeah.
to give it the
And
big thumbs down. Um, and I want to start off just by asking this question because I didn't realize this. Did you first start acting when you were like 3 years old in
I was
commercials?
3. I got my SAG card, and then I got my first job at 4.
Wow.
I didn't know what I was doing, but yeah, it
I
was,
mean, people talk about doing something their whole lives, but
yeah.
this pretty much is your entire life. How
Yeah.
does that affect your outlook on doing work now, on being in front of a camera?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm glad that you said that, because I actually wanted to look. When you're an actor your whole life, like I have been, and it's all it's all I've ever done. I never had any other job. So I
mm,
never had experience. And I always felt like something was, even though I could play a good lawyer and I could play, someone that was authoritative or, I don't know, intelligent, educated because of the dialogue, whatever. Maybe I had the power, eh, when I came into the room and told someone off or whatever it is. But the thing is that I felt like I was lacking in the way that I didn't have anything to draw from when it came to talking about cases or contracts or, or CEOs of companies or, different, guest stars I was doing or whatever. I just felt like there was this little part of me that was like, okay, I don't know I'll do research on each role, but I really didn't have anything to draw from just being an actress my whole life.
mhm.
So I actually got it. Like 6 years ago, after doing Backstabbed, this movie Backstabbed, I was offered, it was to play a real estate agent who ends up killing her client because she's a psychopath. We know all those people.
Sure.
And, and, that my co-star and I got so excited about it that we both got into real estate and investigated that. And I was just fascinated by it. I'm like, this is incredible. And I didn't know why I just wanted to do it. It was like exciting. And I got into that world to like learn about business and the corporate atmosphere. My God, I'd go in there wearing tank tops and stuff like that. And the guy's like, you can't do that. You've got to wear a suit jacket. And I'd make jokes and no one would laugh because they were so serious. The corporate atmosphere, like you could not say the wrong thing. Like it was
Right.
my first, I just found it absolutely fascinating. It was like the flip side of the entertainment business. There's my cat in the bottom right there.
Mm-hmm. We're enjoying.
Um,
We've met from afar.
Anyway, just to make it shorter. So anyway, I got into that and learning that, and that has really helped my acting and helped me as a business person, to bring on that other sort of level and all those experiences that I never had before. And then I'll tell you later on, not today, but in the future, you'll see how else it benefited artistically.
Okay. First teaser of the conversation. Cool. I got to ask you, being in that environment that's so stiff and so different than what you're accustomed to, did you come away feeling, nice place to visit, but I don't really want to live here?
I did feel that, but more about that later. I also have a memoir that I want you guys to all know that the goal of doing the memoir is to, I started my book years ago and I intentionally put it to the side. So it's simmering over here. And that's just something that's going to help people in the long run. I don't want to say why, but it will. A lot of what you hear me say is because I want to try and help other people. I just believe so much in that's just, can you imagine if everybody in this, on this planet actually pitched in just a little bit to help other people or animals or, did something? Oh, it would be amazing. But there are some people that just want to, exist and sort of just take everything in and spit it out, but they don't actually want to help other people. And there are a lot of people that end up overcompensating to make up for all those other people that consume. I'd rather not be that way. And that's where I got that little boy was from volunteer work and helping a situation. And he came out of that.
That's awesome. Hey, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, if all of us just had that mindset of looking outward instead of looking inward, surrounded by mirrors and focused on oneself, it's a much healthier way to be when we're all kind of looking out for each other. So
there's a balance. For sure.
Absolutely. There's also a big balancing act going on over here, as always, when we have a super popular guest on the show, especially when we go live, because we've got people already chiming in through YouTube, through Facebook, everywhere that people are checking in addition to this giant list of questions that have been sent in the days since we have announced that you were going to be on the show. Let me just shout out a few people. Of course, those of you on YouTube or Facebook watching right now, please continue. Send us your comments. Send us your questions. I just want to hit this one up to you right now because this gentleman is very passionate about this search that he is doing. Danny Hooley says, do you have any episodes taped off of Disney Channel's Teen Win, Lose, or Draw? Because there was one episode he used to have. You were on the show alongside Scott Weinger from Disney's Aladdin, also of Full House. Do you remember that?
I did actually a bunch of those. I remember it paid very well, and some people did it once. And apparently, I don't know, I must have been having a lot of fun because they brought me back like 3 times. And I don't remember what they paid, but it was amazing. But that show, it was like charades kind of thing. But my dad actually had recorded it. But I don't have any, he would record things. I didn't watch them. But so my answer is basically no. My dad has them in some library mixed in with some tapes somewhere. And who knows. Yeah.
Is that a lot of your career or your early career? Like, do you tend to not want to save the stuff you've done or go back and watch it? Or
I'm a saver. I'm a collector. I used to save stamps and things like that. So, and my dad was a photographer and did photo books and stuff like that. So I'm big into like diaries and photo books and saving, all my old magazine covers and, things like that, red carpet events, to save them for these kids I don't have yet. I'm a little late to the game, but I'm still going to do it. But I do believe in saving all this stuff. I feel like I don't know who's going to be interested in it later in life. Maybe I'll have kids that'll want to see it later. It's not for me, but I just know that like it's at my parents' house, and you know, some of the stuff's here, and I probably should clean it all out at some point. There's a lot of that stuff and scripts and still. Oh my God, I still have Charles in Charge. My dad has the old jacket, maybe
Wow.
two jackets, maybe with Charles in Charge, and I have I think, yeah, 2 notebooks that we used to have where we would hold our script books, you know, that would hold the notebook. I have those. 90210, I think I have, I don't know, maybe I only just saved 1 script or something like that. But I save every script I do for every guest star or movie.
That's awesome. There's a lot of excited people right now listening to this who are looking for a future online autograph memorabilia sale or something. They
If
want
I
their
ever do that, I don't know why I saved them. We'll see why later. I don't know what to do with them, but
by the way, kudos for the pursuit, because Danny has already responded. He says, ask him, meaning your dad, if he has it. The script.
Dad, in heaven, could you
Oh my
please
gosh.
tell me where they are? I'll have that answer for you later.
We're
My dad
breaking.
is in another world.
Sorry,
ladies and
Danny.
gentlemen.
Sorry.
So I know they're at the house, but I'm not going to be digging through trying to find it. But I'm sorry. I don't know what to say.
If anybody out there
How
who
fun
is
could
not,
it really be to watch?
I mean, look, Danny is this is his journey. But if anyone out there can help Danny, you guys connect, and hopefully we can work something out amongst yourselves. Someone from Facebook, and I apologize because we don't necessarily have everyone's names popping up here on Facebook specifically. So just know I'm shouting you guys out too. I like your personality and your spirit. I like your movies and everything that you do. I want to get into acting in my age, just don't know how. Now, they have not mentioned what their age is. How has just the entry point into acting, I guess, in TV and in movies, how has that changed from the beginning of your career?
I have the worst. I can't, honestly, that's the question I quite often get, but I entered when I was 3 years old. So, and I didn't do it, my dad did. So, how would I know what it's like to do it since then, you know?
Yeah, because you never stopped. I mean, you were made.
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know what to say. I can't really give advice about it. I think someone that maybe just got into it, you know, not that long ago would be a better person to ask. I know that I mean, I don't know. I hate to say, you know, tell people it's a difficult business, but it's a difficult business. And, you know, I feel like my career has ended so many times and then restarted, you know, because of just after Charles in Charge, I didn't have an agent at the time. And then I wasn't known as the pretty girl or whatever. So they're like, no, we're not going to see her because she's not pretty. We want the pretty girl. And I thought, oh yeah, well then I'm going to like do all this makeup and wear my hair down and wear ripped jeans and crop tops. Then I did that. And then they're like, oh no, we want the bookish type. She's like too like hot chick, you know, we don't want that look. And so I was always trying to kind of, you know, when you're younger, you do that as a teenager, like trying to fit in somehow into some look that they want or whatever. I just didn't, but the point is I just didn't want to be, they were trying to sort of put me in a box, and I'm so many different people than that, you know. That's why I do comedy and drama and villains, you know, and I'll be like the sweet, boring lead. I'm kidding. No, but I try not to make those characters boring at all. And that's a wonderful challenge. Anyway, so I'm all over the place, clearly.
In a good way. In a good way.
Very ADHD. But hopefully I come back and answer your question at the end. So I can't answer that question ultimately for you.
No, you're doing amazing. This conversation is going to be in truth all over the place as well. So you're right there with us.
I come back and I finally answer it. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It might go up and down, you know, up around a hill and down the side, but ultimately it should come right back to that beginning and answer it.
Absolutely. We have faith.
Sweet
We're,
word.
we're gonna we're gonna do this, and we're gonna kill it. Guys, continue. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, keep on posting, whether it's comments, questions for Josie, anything that you guys want, anything about the show as well. We
I'm
want
on
to hear from
Instagram
you.
Live, by the way.
You're on what?
My Instagram Live is going. I
Oh,
announced your show here.
really?
Yeah, it's going right. It's been going the whole time.
So we're on your Facebook, on your
My
Instagram account
Instagram
as well?
Live. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have you're beyond me technologically.
Oh,
That's
it doesn't look fabulous. I just threw this together. As you see, this lamp, I don't know. This is too strong. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
looks good. Looks good to me. You guys keep chiming in, and we have not even touched any of the questions that
Okay.
people have sent in yet. So listen to me. I want to tell you this right off the bat, and all of you guys as well. We're gonna get through what we can.
Okay.
Josie, if you feel like we need to cut this off, there could always be a part 2 in our future.
Okay.
But
I'll try and stop talking so long, and I'll try and get through them.
we're here. I think I could speak for everyone watching. I think most of us are here for as long as you want to be here. Okay? Like I said, we're going to be all over the place, and I'm going to start off with a really big question. This is very almost famous-esque, if you will, from Epic 2007. What is the very best thing that you enjoy about show business? It's kind of a big one.
Gosh, who said I enjoy show business?
Still thinking about it, huh?
Show business. Actually, we don't even call it that. What do we call it? The entertainment business. Sorry, I keep touching my stupid hair because I just went to the hairdresser for highlights and literally had 5 minutes to wash it. So she and I were trying to do it for 5 minutes. So I never really officially got to check it. Okay, there we go. I just checked it officially. So let's hope it stays. Okay, I'm sorry. That's why I kept like touching it. I'm just trying to think what I like. One thing I will say I've heard the business is forgiving. So I'm hoping that I get like a second, not a second win, but like a second large half to my career. You're a kid, then you're a teenager, then you're an adult. And I feel like I was kind of not fully felt like a woman. I was always like, oh, a girl. I feel like as a woman, I would really like to have that resurgence. And, it's a weird time right now. So I don't know. It's going to happen at some point where I'll get that opportunity, I think, to be on a series again. Right now, that's not the opportunity, but that'll change. So that's the plan.
Do you feel like, and I want to actually even go back to the individual who chimed in before asking how to get into acting, because they did say they were 40 years old. Do you think that, there's been so much talk about ageism, especially for women who act, but do you feel like that has gotten at all better over the course of your career? Like, do you feel like, especially
forget career. I mean, I think that will always be, I hate to say it, it's a man thing. And then I think that it's making the women sort of get like that too. It's a man thing. And I'm not anti-man, period. Not at all. I'm pro-man. I'm pro-woman. I'm pro-man. So I just want that to be totally clear. But this specific thing, just as a woman, all women know, it falls into your dating. I mean, if you're not, honestly, I think I started noticing a harder time. I always had a hard time trying to date because guys would see me and stare at me and get all scared and not approach. And that's just been the story my whole life. So dating's always been hard for me. And when I say dating, like I said, it's the guy approaching and actually getting to the first date, not the actual dating part
Right. It's the entry point.
But when guys, like, let's say I go to be, if I want to be set up with someone, it literally doesn't happen. I've had, I don't even know, 100 times people have tried to set me up. It never happens because the guy goes, how old is she? And usually it's after, like, once you turn 36, I started noticing guys going, she's really hot, but, yeah, just tell her that I got back with my ex last night. I'm dating someone. I'm like, they're dating someone. Well, you're their best friend and you were going to set me up just now and you didn't know they were dating someone as of yesterday. Wow, that's crazy. It's the same story every time I go to get set up. So that's, forget the business. Yeah. But it's dating too. It's just men and women. That's just how men are about the whole age thing. And that's why, like, they'll put in breakdowns. I've seen in the breakdowns, which are when they're looking for a role, for an actor, or an actress, they'll put, we're looking for a guest star that's, I don't know, 36 and still attractive. And I'm like, still attractive. When were we supposed to not be attractive any longer? Like, when did that end? It's called the expiration date. When did that happen? How about a case by case basis? That's why IMDb pissed me off my whole life, because my age was on there and people would see just my age and see Charles in Charge and go, oh my God, they're thinking I was like an adult on the show. I was not like a little kid. And they're like, oh my God, she must be so old or something. She must be, forget it. She's not going to play an attractive 30-year-old or whatever it is. And it's like, I'm sorry. People think I look 30 like all the time. What the hell are you talking about? It doesn't matter, but it should just be based on what you come off as, if we could sort of, instead of our age and our credits and our picture, if we could have like a little video of us that's current, or take a little video or something once every year or something, just to show people, that would be awesome. But you can't at this point. So there's another long-winded answer, but I think it's a really important one, because honestly, it's very upsetting, not just as an actress, but as as a woman wanting to date in this world. Yeah.
Wanting to date and wanting to perform, it seems to be affecting both aspects of your life,
Yeah. Well, except that if they do ever, see me in person, or a casting director sees, then I think maybe they get an idea, but that, numbers stick in their head. We don't have to keep going on and on about this subject because it's annoying, but yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Well,
it's important.
That was the answer to our very first question. What is the very best thing you enjoy about show business? So we're going to see.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stay positive and say it's very forgiving. I've heard. So I can't wait for that to happen, so I can do the part 2 and get like the next phase.
The happy ending. Not the happy the happy next chapter.
I don't know about me getting a happy ending, but yeah.
T-Dog 1551, not a question, but and we're going to have a few questions about this, but the episode on 2.5 Men, Santa's Village of the Damned, is one of our all-time favorite sitcom holiday episodes. She was so great as the happy homemaker who goes dark. Now, there's a lot of questions that we have here that I just had to pick one because a bunch of people kind of mentioned the same thing. So many people love this episode as like a classic one classic episode of this very classic, enduring sitcom that people still watch again and again.
Yeah.
How much did you enjoy being on that show, and how much does it still affect you today? Do you still have people talking to you about it all the time?
Yeah. Oh my God. All the time. In fact, that job paid really great. I still get checks because they're running it all the time. I mean, who would think that they're running this Christmas thing all year long? It's nuts. I get asked if I still wear the nylons and the outfit from it. And I actually do own the little nylons with the little Christmas, whatever garter thing. I still have it. But yeah, it was a very quick guest star. I barely remember it. It was very fast paced. Charles in Charge felt like a slower process. I wasn't on set long. We would just like run in and do our scene one time, I think. And Chuck Lorre would at the end have us come over and would give us notes, and then I would leave. And in fact, tape day, can I give you this long answer? Because I've never talked about this with fans about the tape day.
Sure.
Tape day was they did a bunch of changes and didn't tell me what they were. I was rushing. I don't know what the hell, why this was so rushed. Everything was like in a crazy rush. And they like threw me into trying to figure out the outfits and threw me into hair and makeup. And I remember it was just like a crazy fast thing. They were having a rehearsal without me. I'm like, huh? Like it's tape day and there are all these changes and I didn't know what they were. And I'm thinking, how can I do this show and not know what I'm doing? And they're like, we're going to run in and just tell you what the notes are. You're going to have we're going to draw a map and show you where you need to walk on what line. And you can just write it down. And I'm literally like, oh my God. I mean, this is a guest star. I've never been on this set before. How am I supposed to go and easily just know where the hell I'm going to walk on this dialogue?
Right.
And I mean, anyway, I did what I did and I ended up doing it. But there were a couple of moments where I'm like, oh my God, do I pour the coffee now? Do I walk to this side of him and who? I don't know their names. It's new. And, it was go to the oven. And I literally don't know how I learned it so fast and just did my thing. But it at one point I remember walking going, I've never walked here before. And I didn't even know in the scene with Charlie where I am unloading groceries. I don't know if you saw the episode, but I'm unloading groceries with him and I'm supposed to take something and it says, take something out of the bag and go walking and go put it on the counter. They didn't tell me what counter. So I went walking and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to just turn around and say my next line. I didn't know. I'm thinking, why am I walking? I had no time to think about anything. It was nuts. So I kind of shuffled my feet, like, which counter do they want me to go to? It was so weird. But we did one take of that scene and Charlie was like, good, done. And I went, wait a minute. I like to try things. Let's do it a couple times. He's like, no, it was good. It was good. Let them see what they think. So the producers are over there watching it and deciding what notes they want to give or whatever. And they're like, nope. Don't need anything else. Moving on. I was like, this is the quickest. Charles in Charge, we used to do one and then we would do a pickup sometimes if there was anything, or maybe do the whole scene again. And, it's fascinating. It was fascinating. It's very different than Charles in Charge for sure. And we did two on Charles in Charge, 2 tapings as opposed to 1.
Oh, wow. But I mean, 2.5 Men at the time was one of the, if not the top sitcom on TV, maybe the top TV show on TV. So
it moved like a bullet train. I mean, it was like, whoa.
Crazy.
And then they would throw in another line here and there that they decided last minute, here, Josie, say this voiceover or whatever. And they decided to have me talking in the other room to the lady that was their cleaning lady. That was all given to us right then and there, and they wrote it right away. So if they felt like there was something lacking, Chuck Lorre would be like, hey, throw this line in there, have her say this here or something. But I mean, my stuff, I think just beyond that, I just, it was all, just moving fast and it was awesome. He's so genius. Oh my God.
Yeah. How do you question the success there?
I would not have been cast if it weren't for him in the audition, by the way, because those casting directors didn't even want to see me. And the only reason I was seen was because I read somewhere that the show was picked up for a 3rd season. I'm like, I've never auditioned for it. I recognize their names. And I sent my VHS tape in. And Lee, his partner, Lee, I forgot his last name, I guess showed Chuck. I keep calling him Charles. Chuck. And they brought me in, and Chuck obviously liked what I did. He brought me in, I think, for 2 other roles first, and then for this one, he said, "You know what? Normally, I open this role as just this kind of very large guest star is for big stars, but I'm going to open it up every once in a while. I open it up to people that are not huge." And he's like, "I was the first one in," and he just went done, and he just went, say this line, do that scene, say this one, turn around, exit, do that. And I did it. And he died. He goes, this scene, do it. I want to see that again, but say it to him and then leave again right after immediately. And then lean over on this line and blah, blah, or whatever it was. And I took direction, and that's why I got it. I did what he wanted. He knows what he's looking at. He's a pro. He thought I was a pro. but the casting directors literally don't ever see me for anything. And that's what I'm talking about this business. I hear that it's forgiving. I just haven't experienced it. So they just never wanted to bring me in to begin with. So I kind of owe it more to him, I feel like, for recognizing what I was doing, than they did.
Yeah, I have to ask you, do you feel like growing up on a sitcom stage, essentially, does that kind of bake into your soul, into your brain, just sort of that vibe, that rhythm, that feel that kind of makes you just feel like you're right when you go and audition for something on a multi-camera sitcom? Like, do you kind of have this comfort level with that environment that they can see?
No, no,
No?
no, no,
Oh,
nope.
honest.
That's my short answer. And by the way, and I don't mean to be, I'm being very honest about those casting directors, and I probably shouldn't be. That's my problem. I'm very honest. But they're not all like that. I felt really disappointed that they did not want to see me for all those years. And like Grey's Anatomy, I would love to audition for that show. And it went how many years? 18 years or something?
It's still going. Yeah.
I think it's over now, but the point is I've never auditioned for it. So that's why I'm hoping for like some sort of lightning to strike somewhere so that I actually get a chance,
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I love Shonda Rhimes. I'm such a huge fan of all her shows. And that would be great to audition for them sometime.
cool. Yeah. Fingers crossed. So much about this episode, 2.5 Men. Sarah 956. Just wanted to know what your experience was like. I guess the dynamic between yourself, Charlie Sheen, John Cryer, like beyond the frenzied nature that you talked about. Was it cool, kind of establishing that dynamic with them?
I barely spoke to them. I'm telling you, it was a flash. I felt like I was the Flash. Like all of us were like just flashing through, doing our stuff, and then done. I mean, they were very nice when we were working together, but there was no like chit chat or whatever. The only thing I remember is Denise Richards coming to set one time with her baby, maybe it was, or a kid. Maybe it was her kid at the time. I don't remember. I just remember it being a kid of some kind. And she was really sweet, and but it was very quick, and it was like a quick set visit, but there was no socializing whatsoever. I mean, I don't know how it shot that fast.
Just a blur.
It was such a blur, and it was a lot. I mean, it was like a big role thrown at me really fast, and I was just in it. And I mean, I guess that's just how they move. They're just fast, and I just jumped on and just wrote it.
Yeah, that's hey, you got it done. Nomad Chief 789. Did she need to be talked into wearing her Christmas outfit in the final scene of that episode? Was that the...
No, oh my God, no, no. It was a great show, great character. It was hilarious. I was just all thumbs up. It was awesome. So I just did whatever, What are they going to have me do something bad? No.
We talked about it a bunch already. We're going to move on to some questions about, a show that, I mean, when I was young, Charles in Charge was on every day because that was where the popularity hit in syndication, right? So when you talk about the most popular shows, the most popular sitcoms of that era, people automatically go to Friends and they go to Seinfeld, et cetera, et cetera. But to a certain age group, I think those shows that were just so prevalent in syndication that they were on all the time are an even bigger deal because they were just on. We watched them all the time. We saw all the episodes like multiple times by the time we were through, and lots of people responded to just the topic and the idea of Charles in Charge. So let's start with Peter Quinn. I've liked Josie for a long time. My question would be, is she still close to any of her co-stars from Charles in Charge?
No. Willie and I, let's see, we had like a Scott, Willie, Ellen. Is that it? We did the parade, the Hollywood Christmas parade. I don't know, 2 years ago, I think, or something. Maybe it was, maybe it was before the pandemic. I think everything was like before the pandemic.
2 years ago, 5 years ago, who knows?
Like, before our life like kind of disappeared for a while.
Right. We blipped out. Yep.
Yeah. So we all, we had a really great time, really fast. I mean, once again, I'm saying fast, but it was just one like evening and we all got together and it was like, it was bizarre. It was so weird to be together, the three of us. And then Willie and Scott and I talked after that. And people were like, oh my God, is there going to be a reunion? And we thought maybe there was going to be, but obviously not everyone's close anymore. And so that couldn't be because of the whole rest of the cast. And unfortunately, James Callahan had passed and, so it's disappointing that people kind of went off on, in different ways. But if I want to ever reach out to, like Scott and his family, I love his daughter, by the way. Oh my God. Cause his mom used to come to set and this daughter of his Bailey looks like Rose, his mother. And she was the most lovely woman. And it's so nice to see her in her eyes, on Bailey. But, anyway, I just think that Scott and his wife are really great parents to her because the daughter Bailey turned out so well. I'm just so impressed. What an amazing girl she is. But that's I don't know, like it's not like I've been hanging out with them or whatever, but we had that night at the parade. So I met her there. And I don't know, she just made such an impression on me. I think, like I said, it's part of my heart goes to the daughter just because she looked like the mother. Oh my God. Yeah. And then Willie and I talked after that, but that's it, so yeah. I mean, I think when you're 12 years old, you don't really probably keep up with all the adults or just it doesn't, not everyone goes the same route.
Yeah. I mean, and it was 30 years ago, give or take at this point. So, I mean, who reconnects with coworkers from 30 years ago?
We don't change after, 5 years. So
yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Poochie Vince wants to know, I love questions like this, but I'm also geeky enough to be able to argue against it. But I heard that they never said Charles' last name on the show, so he technically could be Chachi from Happy Days. They're trying to fan fiction this and make a link between these two characters. They want to know if that's true. Now, I think we know, obviously, there's no logic behind that, even like in the most nerderific way, if you're trying to connect those characters. Because Happy Days...
I have no idea because I didn't watch that show. That I was a little kid. Sorry for the texts that are coming in. So I can't answer that because I'm not I'm not him and I'm not a writer. Like I have no idea.
Right. Well, I mean, look, Poochie Vince, to my recollection, Happy Days took place in the 50s and Charles in Charge did not. So they're not the same person. Case closed. Okay. Fun though. Fun to kind of think about. Maybe he's introducing a time travel element to the.
And by the way, if people want the DVDs, I have 2 Charles in Charge seasons here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you can,
they want just go to the website.
That's awesome. If you could track down a VHS of Teen Win Loser Draw and make a combo, you'd be through the roof, man. Right to eBay.
My God.
I think we've kind of touched on this already a little bit, but these are some cool questions. I love kind of just breaking down the mechanics of making a sitcom. Excellent Prophet has always wondered, when taping in front of a live studio audience, how long is the actual taping? Now, we know that varies. You talked about the pacing of 2.5 Men versus what you were used to in Charles in Charge, but what was a taping like on tape night for Charles in Charge?
So Charles in Charge, we did 2 episodes. Boy, it's been a long time since I've thought about this, so I'm just trying to think back. I think we had a 5 o'clock show and a 7 o'clock or something like that. I'm sure I'm not exactly right on. Maybe it was like 5 to 6. If they did do pickups, sometimes they would try to do them here, right away. But then we would end up eating food, let's say around 6 or something, and to 6:45 or 6:30, whatever, 6:30. And then we would get ready, do our makeup and hair, get touched up or whatever, and get dressed again. And then we would do like the 7 o'clock show. And then after we were done, so actually maybe they were like an hour and a half each or something like that. Something like that. Maybe it was like 5 to, I'm not sure. Honestly, I was 12 years old. I don't know, 5 to 6:30, maybe it was like 7:30 to 9. I don't know. But I just remember feeling like it was really late at night, because then we would do pickups at the end of the night. It was like, oh, you've got these kids here that are exhausted because, it was kind of late. But then Scott was like, why don't we just do the pickups right away in front of the audience? Who cares? Because they were thinking like, we don't want to bother the audience and make them wait around while we do pickups and lose that excitement they have. Right. But people would think it was fun, I think, sometimes. And especially if we messed up. They loved watching us mess up and laughing at them. There was so much laughter on that show, and the audience was, my God. Yeah, it was amazing.
Before we get off Charles in Charge, I want to ask you something as, again, somebody who watched the show back in the day from start to finish. I felt like as the series progressed, like the energy level kind of just picked up more and more every season. Everyone got more hyper. Everything got faster. Is that something that you felt as a kid? Is that a real thing?
Maybe. They just always felt really into it. I guess, you know what? Now that I'm thinking of, God, this is hilarious. I haven't thought about this since I was a kid. But I'm just, we got, I think, more and more popular, I think, maybe. We had celebrities come by set and stuff like that. And you brought up Happy Days. I forgot her name, but the one that was his love interest came one time. And I remember them saying, Erin Moran. How the hell did I just remember that?
Joni.
I remember them saying that she was in the audience at one point, so they would always point out celebrities that came to watch our show. And they'd come afterwards and say hello, and we had to stick around. And of course, I'm exhausted. I'm saying hi, and then we had to take pictures with people. And I'm like, I'm 12 years old. I've got to work tomorrow again. I'm tired. But I was always so, like, when I left, I always felt really good about it. And I left feeling really, really, I don't know, I felt elated when I would go home that night, but then it was like, oh God, we have to start all over the next day. I didn't like Fridays because of that.
Yeah. The ups and downs. Now, beyond the things we've talked about already, so many people love your work on 90210. Because there's still such a fan base and people who are still streaming that show for the first time or discovering it or watching through it. So we got a lot of feedback about that as well. So I want to hit some of that a little bit. Trees with Oranges wants to know how you got cast for 90210, because you played 2 different characters on the show.
Oh, when I was a guest star, I auditioned to play a lesbian. So I played a lesbian. And then this is so funny. For 90210, I'm like 5'7", and I was supposed to be like 5 feet because Tori was smaller, and Tori Spelling was smaller, and her dad Aaron was even smaller, I think, or he was small. And they kept hiring smaller people, I guess. Except for, I guess, Ian was taller. All the guys were taller, but they wanted, like, the girls were really tiny. And so I just tried. So I'm in the audition. I was told, listen, we really are crazy about her, but she's got to shrink somehow and become 5 feet or 5'1". Or maybe it was 5'2", whatever it was like, okay, if I can just wear flats and and have a crooked spine and like lean to have bad posture. They had a measuring like thing on the back wall, or literally I had to somehow like fit
Wow.
into that little box.
That's
And
hardcore.
so then, of course, I had to keep it up for Titans, and I was always having to take which was an NBC spinoff, and I'm sorry, spinoff. It was another show that Aaron Spelling's last show that he did for NBC. It was a huge, huge show with Yasmin Bleeth and Victoria Principal and Casper Van Dien. Mm-hmm. And I would take off my heels. Everyone wore heels, and I was always like this. My back started hurting from doing this. But so that was kind of the process of auditioning. So I auditioned, with casting once, and then I think I went to producers once. I think maybe because it was already where you didn't have to like test anymore for series regulars because it was so far along. It was the last season.
Yeah. Okay, and that was for your guest starring spot, but
no, that was for the.
That was for the real deal for Camille.
Yeah. The guest star, you just do one audition. Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you think that there was any sort of connectivity between the two? Did they like what you did the first? No,
because I think they were years apart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Now, when you eventually did land as Camille, of course, your role is that you're in a relationship with David Silver, with Brian Austin Green. Uh-huh. Tree with Oranges also would like to know what that dynamic was like. What was it like to work with him?
Oh, Brian and I had known each other. Apparently all the girls that auditioned for the role were we all knew each other.
Oh.
And, I don't want to say who auditioned, but there was one big name, and then there was some other girl that used to make the rounds on shows and guest star and stuff like that. And so apparently it was just down to the three of us. But we all knew Brian from all we kid actors knew each other at the time. We used to socialize and go to parties every weekend and go to events all the time. And so we all knew each other growing up from when Brian was little and Tobey Maguire and Leonardo DiCaprio, everybody was really small. And then all of a sudden they all become these tall guys. So, so we knew each other like that. And that was super comfortable, even though it had been a while since we, known each other.
Did you don't have to name names, obviously, but were there other actresses who you found yourself just constantly being up for the same role as?
Yeah, I don't know that I know their names. Maybe there are a couple that there are two that I can think of. One, I don't know if she's acting anymore now, and then the other one wasn't, and then and then is on something now. So there were.
Cool. I'm going to ask this question verbatim. This is from Mary Pickaford. Damn, everybody already asked the same juicy questions. My question, I'm going to read this exactly as it was written, and you interpret it however you want. My question is, your hairdo? What was up? I don't have a strong recollection of what that 90210, the Camille hairdo was, but she seems to be questioning the very existence of your. Did you, in fact, question anything about your hairdo at the time?
Oh, I definitely, it was really difficult. I had really long hair to here. And then one day I went to my hairdresser, who I'm still with, and he went, I'm just going to go and cut it to this. And I thought, well, that's weird. And he goes, I'm telling you, trust me, I'm just going to do it. You got to let me do it. And it was kind of crazy, but I let him do it. I mean, can you imagine going can you see it from here to this? It was a pixie cut. And I got mistaken for Charlize Theron when I went to see Cider House Rules. So that was a little weird. They're like, you did such a great job in the movie. I'm like, stop it. So it was difficult to pull off. Once in a while, I felt like a lesbian. I would look like I was not, if I was out with a girlfriend for dinner, I was worried they were going to think I was a lesbian when I wasn't. And the only reason was because I was worried was I was a single straight girl and I wanted a guy to maybe like me. And why would they like me if they thought I was a lesbian? So I kept thinking, I wish I could I'm a single straight girl for any guy looking, come hit on me. Of course, it never happened.
That t-shirt would have sold in the 90s, I think. Thrift Girl 82. I'm really curious to know how the other cast members, especially the OGs, Tori and Jenny, treated Josie. I've read some stories that they treated some new cast members and guest stars nicely, others not so much. A lot of this is rumor and conjecture and lots of legend that has come from that show and the environment around it specifically over the years. I hope it was a good experience for Josie. What was the experience like for you as far as the temperature on the set? You're kind of in this cast that is very well established for years. You're the new girl. What was it like?
Yeah, they were so nice. And I'm not, I'm not a BSer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know that. I sometimes open my mouth and put my foot right into it.
We sense
there was one person who was actually completely horrible, and we won't talk about that person. Everybody else was so nice. I mean, oh my God, really sweet. Like Tori invited me out and we were, oh my God, we went out one night on the town and it was like the old Hilton or whatever. Mm-hmm. And, you know who was standing there? Patrick Swayze was right there behind, like standing here. I just remember, I don't know what we were doing, talking to somebody. And my friend was like, dude, that's Patrick Swayze. Are you fucking kidding me? He was starstruck. He's like, Tori Spelling's here. Patrick Swayze. Are you kidding me? And I'm like, I don't know. Whatever. So funny. It was really fun. And like I said, Brian and I knew each other. He was dating someone at the time. It was kind of something weird, but we were fine. We knew each other for years. He was super nice. Ian was super nice. I'm trying to think. Oh, and then our friend that passed away, Luke, was such a sweetheart. That's so, oh God, that's so, I don't know. Why is it always the nice people? Jason was super friendly. Anyway, but yeah, no, people were really, really nice. Actually, there was someone else that used to talk shit about me, so he wasn't very nice. But anyway, everybody else was super nice.
Everybody's going to IMDb right now to try to figure out who you're talking about. Just so you know, I'm sure. But hey,
I don't know.
Make your own deductions, people.
No. It was a great experience. That's all.
Cool. Yeah. Well, look, man, we've been going.
Questions?
We got a few more left. You want to hang? You want to?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to tell you guys, if you're still hanging with us, thank you so much for doing so. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're checking us out. If you're on Instagram and you're posting, I'm not seeing it, but Josie is potentially.
I am. I know. And they always ask to be part of the live, but I never want to bring someone on because God forbid they say something wacky or do something crazy or show up naked or something. But hi guys. And hi.
Naked.
Well, what if they did? I mean, I don't know how to turn that off. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
I guess we're kind of taking the same risk here. So thank you for not showing up naked then, Josie. I never really.
I'm not naked, but someone, if you let someone else on, I mean, my God, that could be dangerous.
Instagram doesn't like that. YouTube definitely hates that, the nakedness, the nudity.
Do you want them to ask questions, or do you want just yours?
Oh, if any of your Instagram followers would like to pipe in questions, it's just I cannot see them. So if you,
I know I would have to read them. So it's hard. If I happen to look over and catch one,
absolutely,
they're just all asking to join.
But those of you on YouTube and on Facebook, of course, you can pipe your questions in as well. And those of you
on Instagram just at Josie Davis, if you want to ask one there or something.
Okay. And of course, this entire thing, if you caught us in the middle or just joining us now, it is going to be available on demand. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. So please go over there, subscribe. It's at youtube.com/@90s to now. So
Nice.
join us there. You can watch this again and again and again. And I guarantee you'll learn something new every time, because this has been a pretty deep convo. I want to mention, well, you know what? John Steele had one more question about 90210 I want to get in here, because he believes that 90210 was almost picked up for an 11th season. Was there talk of you joining the cast full time if that happened?
I
Because
was. I was on. They just last minute were all discussing, should we go another year? Just like Charles in Charge. Should we go another year? Should we not? And we all were like, nah. And 90210, I mean, it had nothing to do with me. I just was joining. So I was waiting, going, I hope they say yes. So I'm just waiting. It had nothing to do with, I was on, period. I had like this whole relationship with Brian Green's character. And then last minute, when they're like, oh my God, we're pulling it, like, that's done, we're done. Then they were like, oh my God, okay, we've got to get rid of Josie's character, because now we have to wrap it up and make it a big wedding for the very last episode. So they had to, like, so I'm gone, and then they had to, so that's why.
That sucks.
Otherwise, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you jumped right over to another Aaron Spelling production, which was Titans. Is that, it's funny, because you hear stories about a lot of different stars who have appeared in multiple Aaron Spelling projects. From the outside, it almost feels like being kind of in that Aaron Spelling bubble. It's almost like being associated with like with Hugh Hefner, like with the Playboy Mansion. Like, once you're in, no, but I'm saying in
use that as an example, but it's pretty much any producer does that if they, and it's not about like, I just was cast. I had to audition. I had to test for it. I mean, I'm talking, you guys would die if you saw, there were a bunch of us actually testing for it. A bunch of girls, and they would open this door and there would be a sea of producers, writers, the brass, like all the network, whether, I don't know who it was. It was NBC. It was NBC brass. Like, they were all, I'm doing this with my hands because they were filling all the seats. The window sills were filled, the table, the desk, the chairs, the couch, filled with all these, like a sea of people. And you had to go in and read with this little casting director. And it was like my heart's going like this, And I only remember one girl auditioning for it. I forgot who else, but she had been on series also. But anyway, and then I don't know. I think they all were on different shows at different times. But anyway, it was really a big audition. And then I had to go and, oops, someone just called and interrupted my Instagram. But then for Aaron Spelling, I don't remember if it was before NBC had to approve, basically, where the studio approved or the network approved. But I had to audition not on his couch. I also had to sit on his couch. I had to audition, and they were all sitting on his couch that was like the longest couch you've ever seen. It was so funny. And he's in the middle with all the producers on the side. I thought that was a lot. So when they opened those doors, and I'm like, holy shit, all these people. It was like, oh, it was no longer really about your audition. It was more about the energy, the personality, and like the vibe and all that stuff. And yeah, it went great.
It sounds like it becomes less about, do we like her performance and do we like her? Like, is that kind of what you have to shift your focus to?
Yeah, because there was someone that actually got replaced. I can say that because no one knows who it is. No one saw it or anything, but they really loved the look of some girl that was going to play my sister on it. And they cast her, and she was this beautiful girl, but it wasn't quite the right personality fit for that character. And then with the other characters, and she actually was in the reading for Titans. And everyone was just like, this is not gonna, it just didn't feel right. And she was very shy. It just wasn't right. They needed her to be rebellious. So they ended up, the director, I think, was like, I have a girl that just can jump in and just take over. And I think they just had her audition quickly, and she got the parts really fast and kind of filled in,
That's the way it goes sometimes.
She was very sweet.
Cool.
Elizabeth. Yeah.
so many other projects that have been mentioned here, and unfortunately, we're gonna do a little short shrift here for some of these things. But I do want to mention a show that you were on that a lot of people saw and hold dear to their heart, clearly, called Hollywood Heights. There's a fan base for Hollywood Heights, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I never got to see the damn thing. I have copies of it. Like, as you know, I have copies of everything, and I never saw it. Usually I like to see something one time just to see how it turned out, but I just never got around to it. I don't even know where the damn thing is. I'm interested in seeing it. But anyway, okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Actually, I think somebody did ask if it's streaming anywhere. I do not know the answer to that. I don't know. But something we should all check out, including Josie herself, clearly. But the Last Stars wants to know, and I got to tell you, and I apologize, I'm not really familiar with this show, but certainly, again, something that a lot of people were excited to ask you about. Was there a possibility for a season 2? Did you feel like the show ended somewhat abruptly?
What show?
Hollywood Heights.
Oh, that was such a I hate to say fast thing, but I was literally just in and out, and I got some movie Notes from Dad with Eddie Cibrian and the late Alan Thicke and Michael Beach. And it was such a great project to work with Eric LaSalle as a director that I had to pick one, like do that, keep doing that, or take the movie. I'm like, sorry, I'm taking the movie. Eric LaSalle was killer. In fact, I just ran into him the other day. He's a great director. So yeah, so that was really fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Speaking of great directors, another isolated question. What was it like to work with Nicolas Cage? Because people don't really think of him behind the camera, but you have that experience.
I was actually just going to mention, I forgot that James Franco was he on Hollywood Heights, or he was on set at one point after we had done Sunny together. I just don't know. He did General Hospital, which was really weird. Remember?
Yeah, I vaguely remember. Yeah, he just decided.
Saying my grandma's a fan, I wanted to do it or something like that. And he was friends with the producer, I guess. And so I saw him on set, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. And I originally had worked with him on Sunny with Nick Cage directing.
Yeah.
Nick, I auditioned for it with a producer and the casting director, and then they had my tape. Nick saw it and was like, yeah, fantastic. So was the producer. So I had to go back and audition actually for Nick on New Year's Day, which meant my New Year's Eve was cut short, and I was dating someone. Like, oh my God, I have to go to bed early. I can't believe it, but this is a huge deal. So I went to his house in Bel Air, and he could not have been more down to earth and nice, just like he seems like he would be. That's exactly how he is. He was awesome. He was charming. He was funny. I don't know why. He made some joke and said, well, I'm just trying to save my girlish figure. I mean, he was so funny. And, but it was neat to see his house. He served, I used water in like wine glasses, which I thought was very glamorous. So I picked that habit up and started doing that at my place. Beautiful house there. And he was hilarious when we worked together in New Orleans. He directed James, really, he gave James great direction, and he was a great director. And for me, it's funny. It was sort of James's movie. You know what I mean? So he was sort of directing, like acting, because he's an actor's director. So he was like dealing with him. And for me, it was more like, doing great. Do the dialogue in the audition, switch lines, blah, 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 blah. Say the lines and laugh there and laugh there. I'm like, okay. But he was shocked that I was able to make it seem spontaneous every time. So when I was reading for him at his house with the casting director, he was like, oh my God, can you do that again? I was like, yeah, can I do it again? Of course I can do it again. He's like, okay, I don't know how you laugh. Okay, do it again. And he watched me do it again, the scene again, where I'm laughing. He's like, how do you laugh like that? And it sounds like it's the first time. I'm like, how are you asking me this?
That's a compliment from an
I
actor. I
know.
mean,
He goes, can I read with you? Would you mind? I'm like, yeah, no, go ahead. He said, can I read with her? Do you mind, Jeff? He moved him away and he's like, reads with me. And he's like, I don't understand how you can do that. That's fantastic. Okay, we're done here. And we're walking out and he had like his cars and they're packing him up and he was leaving for New Orleans.
wow.
That was it. And yeah, and so I got that and he was just like really loving James and protective of him, and Scott Conn was there, and then he just was so cool. And you know, I had like my nude scene stuff and he was nowhere around. He made sure it cleared the set. So, and I would just like, I literally stood there where I was topless. So I stood there with my hands covering my boobs, and I was wearing a pubic patch, which I'd never experienced, where they cover that area with a whole like cream colored, tan colored material.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like me wearing, you know, underwear or a bikini, actually, like a bikini bottom, really, except I did this. So, you know, anyway, James wore like some large sock. That was kind of funny. I didn't look. I didn't look at all. Scott Conn was like, he's wearing a large sock. Anyway, and apparently got a hole in it and they had to like give him a longer sock or something.
That's a compliment. That can't be bad for the rep.
I'm like, how do you get a hole in the? Okay, never mind. Whatever. I was all about the acting. I was like so focused on that. So it was all about that for me, and that was pretty much it. But that was a really fun movie. What an amazing thing to work with all that whole cast. You know, it's a favorite. That was amazing, and just Nick was hilarious. I just think he's what a character he is, and one of the most humble people I've ever met, by the way. When I saw him in a movie that he did after that, you know, he very well could have blown me off. He introduced me to his ex-wife, Elvis's daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is not with us any longer either.
Right.
And I met her one night and he was like, he introduced me. He was polite. I don't know. I guess because I'm not a big star or anything, I expected him to, maybe he wouldn't even have introduced me. It would have been a very quick, because it was a screening. Why introduce me, you know? But he treated me like everyone else. And in fact, I said, I would love to, I want to tell you what I thought of your performance in this movie. He respected me so much that we went outside and outside the doors after his screening before they opened it for people to come out. And I told him what I was thinking, and he was 100% there. The doors opened, stars came out, everyone's trying to talk to him. And he's like, okay, 1 second. Okay, 1 second. And he was like, okay, finish what you're saying. I mean, who would think Nick Cage is going to sit there and talk to me like that? So that was pretty amazing. And he finished with me, and then he went. Yeah, so he just impressed me as one of the most humble, big stars I've ever met. Clooney was not stuck up either. I met him many years ago also, like super nice. The bigger ones seem to be really nice, which is weird. Same with Brad Pitt too. He was totally like just a person. There's nothing weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you know, quite honestly, it speaks to, for yourself, the fact that, especially with someone like who you've worked with, like Nicolas Cage, it speaks to the kind of respect that you earn with your talent and your skill and your work ethic, and you're a peer. I mean, that's really the bottom line, right?
Yeah, if I had more opportunity to play great roles like that, that would be killer. Yeah, that's going to happen. That's when I get cast as a woman now in my.
Is this sort of the manifesting motion? Is that what we're doing here?
No, I was a girl. Now I'm a woman. So this is the second half of my life. So now I'm going to, you know, that's what I'm saying. The second half of the big picture.
Gotcha.
So second half of my life.
Okay. Well, we're manifesting it anyway, if that's
a different career, and then the memoir will come out and some other stuff, hopefully.
Well, look, you've been so giving of your time. We've covered
good. We got it
so
all done.
much. Yeah, I mean, I got one more question for you, but I just want to acknowledge the fact that you've done an amazing job. You guys who've chimed in with questions, past and present, have done an amazing job of covering so much. I want to recognize the enormity and the the amazingness of your career and the fact that even though we've covered so much, we've still not covered so much, but that's okay.
That's
There's so
okay.
many awesome things you've done.
Thank you.
Um,
Thanks for
let's
saying
hit
all that.
no, let's hit the final question though.
Okay.
Tampa MMM or maybe Tampa not sure.
Okay.
We'll go with the second one. Do you prefer I'm going to read this one verbatim too, and this covers a whole category of your work. Do you prefer your childhood acting career and those memories, or more so all of your, and I quote, adult crazy type Lifetime movies? Now, you have made some amazing crazy type Lifetime movies here and there as well. I see what was it? Bad Teacher is one that
No, that title has, I mean, I was like, this has got to go. I mean, this is bad. The title, like, who wants to, I'm a classically trained actor. Like, who wants to do a movie called Dirty Teacher? I'm like, you
Dirty Teacher.
kidding
Right.
me? It was called High School Crush when I said, yes, I would do it.
Yeah.
But Lifetime goes in there and just takes an axe to title sometimes and chooses the most flashy, crazy title they can come up with. But
Yeah.
I just have to say that, believe it or not, the casting community, I've heard from managers or agents or whatever, that they don't respect actors that do those movies. And that's affected me. I mean, it's like, well, God, I'm doing really good work in these movies. My audience, my fan base loves what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I feel so artistically satisfied at the end, especially if I play a villain. They're really fun. I love to do a really good villain. And I'm talking to my Instagram live people over here. I don't know. I feel I stopped doing them actually like 6 years ago. And I kind of feel like maybe I want to do some again, but I don't know. I mean, the casting community does not respect it. The acting a lot of times I know is not great on some of those channels, but the ones I've done, I've been so happy with, and I've really felt like the writing was great. The acting was great. I mean, there's one that I did where I cast this great actress opposite me where they were going to cast someone that was like popular, but she couldn't have handled and made a great villain. And I cast this chick that was just fantastic. She played a great villain. I mean, without, us doing a great job, I don't think it would have sold, not that particular one. But there have been some with some good actors and really, that have been really fun and really good and satisfying. And so I feel torn because I've really loved them, the ones I've done. I
think Josie, I think it's interesting, sort of the external versus the internal perspective, because I think out here on the outside world, away from the entertainment industry, it feels like Lifetime movie projects and Hallmark movie projects and that whole genre of movie, whether it's holidays or not holidays, have absolutely their reputation has changed for the better over the last 5 years or so, to the point where they are kind of the mainstream entertainment that people have grown to gravitate towards, especially on traditional network cable TV. Like, that's go-to stuff. But you're saying you don't really feel that internally in the industry at that point? Is that not caught up?
What I've been hearing for years is like, well, casting's not going to see you because they think that, you shouldn't be doing those movies. I'm like, I'm doing really good acting. I'm getting paid well. I'm very proud of how the movies have turned out. Why would I not, No. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, it's an interesting thing to see. I'd love to meet all the new casting directors that are out there right now. There are a whole slew of like young casting directors that I've never met, and I would love for that to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hope that happens soon with some changing that's happening.
Absolutely. And look, if there's anything we've learned in this conversation, it's that your career has had so many twists and turns and success stories and navigated so many different kinds of eras and changes in the industry. Quite frankly, you're prime. You're ripe for just what that next one is. You've been successful in, since you were 3 years old. So we just can't wait to see what's happening next. But it's coming, so it's all good.
not till I was 12, but you're giving me too much credit there. But no, thank you. Well, you've said such sweet things. I just want to thank you. And I mean, my God, you've complimented me like so many times. I can't believe it. But there are 3 movies that I did this year. I had one that came out. I'm really excited. Now these are not Lifetime movies, God forbid. But there are 2. There's one with James Remar that's coming out, and Michael Dornan.
Okay.
That I can't even see the name of it yet, so it's not on IMDb yet. Waiting for some big announcement, and then I've shared some of it, like pictures of it from set and things like that, and reels on my Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, so people can see that. But I can't share anything else yet. That's going to be very exciting. And then also there's another movie I have coming out. I don't know where they're going to be, if they're streaming, or I don't know if one of them will be in the theaters or not. I have no idea. But Festival of Trees is the other one. That is going to, you guys, that is going to be hilarious. There's so much comedy on there that I do. You guys are going to die. I play the villain.
Nice.
The most stuck up interior designer, control freak, just maniac. It's so fun. And it's a Christmas movie. It's like sweet. And then it's got this ridiculous villain that I play with my 2 little assistants who are like other little villains. They were amazing. I mean, what an experience. It was awesome. We shot in Atlanta, and fantastic. So that's coming out, I think, in December. So both of those will be out at the end of this year, sometime this year.
Awesome. So we got stuff to look forward to already, and more and more and more to come. And
we'll luckily, visit again. You and I will visit again because you're so sweet.
We should do that because we've got so much more to talk about. You're gonna have so many more questions, you guys. I feel like this is the end of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood or something. Like we'll have more questions for you, or whatever he used to say. But thank you to everyone for checking us out on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. Thank you most of all to you, Josie. This has been awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for asking. I'm glad you reached out.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank you guys for checking us out on 90s to Now. Make sure you subscribe, you share, you like, you do all the things that help us out. And we will see you next time. Thanks again, Josie. Bye.
Thank you. That sounds so Southern. Thank you. Okay, guys.